All right, so Friday afternoon, um, working on an idea hasn't really come to full fruition at the moment, but it's beginning. It's this idea of a simplification and simplifying my life, making it less complex, less full on, less distribution of energies and more focus, and perhaps a little more downtime, which is important. And this has come about over years of trying different things, working through different things, and I feel that there is a time now just to settle and review and allow some space for something new. Now, some space for some, how would I put it, like a interweaving or a synergy of everything that I've been through for years and years into something that works for me. In a couple of days' time, I have a final, hopefully final, notes review, and the medical council will randomly select out of 45 patients the notes and go through those. And if my notes have been good, I've already been through them all. I went through all 45. One of them was a DNA, so there was no notes for that patient. But interesting to go through the notes for sure, just review and see what quality. I gave myself 4 out of 5 for most of them, 3 out of 5 for probably 25 to 30%. There was no twos, there was no ones, there was no fives either. But overall, it was like, okay, yeah, this generally the quality of notes seems to be up to the standard that I expect for myself. If there was a problem, then there's more than enough detail to go through and trigger the memory. So we'll see what happens. That's been hanging on my head for 3 years. Coming up, it's almost to the day, 3 years. Saw another patient today who had had a complaint, and they got the news that there was no further action. And I was like, oh, wow. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? And hopefully we'll see that with APRA, that they're like able to make better decisions and say, okay, this is a good decision. What was very interesting in discussing with that patient was that there doesn't seem to be a particularly good way of dealing with health practitioners who have notifications in terms of how to navigate the system. And certainly there was no email describing, what would happen or when by, but just a really great phone call to receive today to say, hey, yeah, APRA's looked at it and no further action. It's like, yes, that's great. And I also said, just be careful, okay? Next time, unlikely that you'll get away with it. If it happens again, then they will investigate. But for now, okay, you've got a tap on the shoulder. Hey, pay attention. So, yeah, but for me, hopefully 3 years later, yes, there was COVID, but wow, okay, yeah. Good notes, people. Good notes. Make sure you make good notes. And one of those critical things is to review the notes before you close the patient file. This is a habit that must be got into. And in fact, there's all sorts of little things that make our job very tricky because I was talking to my practice manager about billing, and we'd been discussing DMMRs. And this came about because of the patient who died from a lithium overdose. The GP just took the patient's word for the dose, gave them that script to overdose, and they died. And I was discussing this. I was like, look, we've got to have some safeguards here. How about the nurses make the changes on the discharge summaries? And he's like, look, the nurses don't want to do that. It's a GP thing. And I'm like, okay, cool. How about we flag the discharge summaries that have medication changes? And it's like, I'm like, okay, fine. I actually took some action on this. I'm like, okay, if this is not going to go anywhere with manual overrides in practice, then I wrote to our PHM and I was like, hey, you know what? This is a problem. If it's affecting one GP, perhaps they were burnt out, perhaps they were exhausted, perhaps I don't know, they had something happen in the case before, they were fatigued, they were exhausted, last patient of the day, who knows? They didn't check the discharge summary, they missed the decreased dose of lithium. Yes, they should have known better and not paid and not dismissed lithium so easily. Like, there should be a flag in their mind going, oh, lithium, yep, tight therapeutic range. But also, what are we going to do about this? So I wrote to PHN, I said, hey, you guys thought about having this as having a single source of truth, that the hospital interacts, that the GP interacts, that the pharmacist interacts, that the patient interacts with a single database of their medications that is in real time. And this would reduce it. So I don't know what's going to happen from it. I at least have taken action on it. What has been astounding to me is the number of little things that don't get flagged. I'm part of Wake Up Warrior, and this has been a phenomenal program for me for the last 6 years. They have software, and there was a bug that's been there for like, I think maybe 6 months, and I didn't know whether to flag it with them. I was like, hey, I'm not sure where the flag is. Surely someone else has flagged this. But I wrote to them, I'm like, hey, just to let you know, are you guys seeing this? And they're like, oh, didn't know about that. I'm like, wow, okay, cool. And they're really grateful. Here's the thing I want you to catch. Both of these meant me taking action. And neither of them I can actively do anything about, but I can let other people know so that they can do something about it. And if the PHN chooses not to pursue this, I get it. You know, having a single source of truth for medications, while it may significantly increase safety, reduce errors, it's also a massive undertaking. You know, just any software stuff in health is a big deal. So I get it if they don't want to do it. Wake Up Warrior were like, great, thank you so much. We're going to fix that up. I'm sure it'll be resolved. Maybe not this week, maybe next week. Like a lot of software dev takes a while. But the overall idea here is to simplify my life, to have a reduction in the number of focuses that I'm on and just go, okay, what has effect in my world? So one of the things may be the end of these Facebook Lives. This may be the last one for a while. May even consider, I'm thinking about this, like shutting down Graduate Medicine. Just go, you know what? Perhaps it's time to close this down. Let the other providers of medical education go for it. They seem to be doing a great job, so excellent. And for me, I'm just kind of curious. I want to allow some space. The simplification of my life, to me, I don't know where it's going. And that's okay. Not knowing the answer is a very difficult place to step into because it seems like there is no answer. But here's the leap of faith: to take the simplification, get rid of the things that aren't working, do less, and in that, see if the gift arises. So we'll see how this plays out. But this may well be the last Facebook Live for a while. Hope you've enjoyed the series. I'll leave them up. They're all set to never delete. Do a final Canto 20 of the Ramayana, and from there, see how this all plays out. All right, that's all I got for you. I'm going to go we have one of our team members finishing up today, so got a little farewell party over at Brunswick Pub, and then from there, into bed. All right, catch you next time. Or maybe not. We'll see how it goes.